I am Mariette Sidibe, and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios along Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main local, international, and sports news headlines. 4 students of Lycée Senegalese de Banjul drowned at the Fajara beach on Wednesday. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commissions will submit its final report and recommendations to President Barrow on the 30th of July 2021. Operation Restore Sanity, the code name for the Gambia Armed Forces patrol team set up last month to curb crime, held a media briefing listing the successes registered during the operation. In international news, large parts of Western Germany, as well as Belgium and the Netherlands, were hit by heavy continuous rain and flooding, leading to several deaths, destruction of buildings, and loss of property. In sports news, 4 Gambian athletes will compete in the athletics, judo, and swimming events in this year's Tokyo Olympics set to begin this month. Those were our main headlines. Now the news in detail. Four students of Lycée Senegalese de Banjul have drowned at the Fajara beach on Wednesday. All 4 victims are between the ages of 15 to 17. Our reporter Momodu Gajaga visited the scene and he now reports.
There are tears in the eyes of these grieving families whose loved ones drowned on Wednesday afternoon at the Fajara beach. Sukunda Pereira, fondly called Nadia, Boubacar Bari, Bintu Kamara and Mohamed John Jallo drowned while swimming. At least 2 of the victims, Sukunda and Boubacar Bari's families, were at the beach, hopeful but desperately waiting for news of their loved ones.
The shock that we have and the stress that we have in you cannot be explained. Presently, we are all confused. We don't know what to do now. Everybody is scattered there. You have a lot of stories why
her first child died in the water, and the second time again, who has taken his O-level and died again. It's a sad event for me. Well, I am advising to all Gambian students to be very careful with Fajara Beach, because we have a canal that we call Koren.
An eyewitness, Malik Cham, a restaurant owner at the Fajara beach, says he saw the students around midday. He said he drove them away and warned them about the dangers of swimming in the sea.
Beach be dangerous, and every year by this time during this season,
Swimming at sea, especially for children without any sort of training or supervision by elders as well as lifeguards, could be dangerous.
So buma ñew ma gis ben body ben boy moy kuñ force gis ñiko oyé John, so ñu gis ko ci ndox bi, so mané kuma andal mané ko lélé body la ndax is a saver ci la boka.
The waves are sometimes high, and one is also at the mercy of the powerful sea current. These red flags, so it is a danger zone. Sambujan Sise volunteers as a lifeguard at the beach.
Lifeguard is part of the institution, but it's very vital in this country. So government be waru ñol neglect nonu domi badole suñ dé nak kenn du wax dara dé waye tay domi big man bu dé ku nekk dina ko dégga fu nekk.
This is how Amadou Ba, the principal of the school, reacted to the tragic loss.
We
received the news with shock. Our condolences goes to the families of the 4 students who lost their lives in the sea. We also pray for their departed souls to rest in Jannah. Many lives are lost at sea every year. People go to the beach for several reasons, among them for picnics, training exercises, and swimming. Sometimes swimming in the sea could be a death trap. Making the sea a safe place for swimming should be our priority. These deaths raise the question of how clear the warnings were and how much more we can do to make our beaches safe. May their souls rest in peace. Momodu Gajaga, QTV News.
Our condolences to their families. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission announced on Friday that it will submit its final report and recommendations to President Barrow on the 30th of July 2021. Babukar C. has the rest of that story.
Since the end of the public hearings of the Truth Commission, the public has been eagerly awaiting the final report where recommendations will be forwarded to the President for action. In a press conference on Friday, Dr. Lamin Sise, the Commission's chairman, told journalists their work is almost done and that the President has agreed to meet them on the 30th of July.
We have been liaising with the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice, our line ministry, and the President's office. The President has given us now the date of 30 July when we would meet him and then submit our final report to him.
For Adelaide Sose, the vice chair of the commission who doubles as the head of the reparations committee, the people who suffered various rights violations and torture are numerous, and they are doing their best to support the victims with the 50 million given by the government for this purpose.
The government, I'm sure some of you were there, in 2019 gave the TRRC $50 million with a promise to give an additional 50 million. The promise was not kept for reasons that were out of our control. But the monies that were within our control, we were very specific about the way that it would be spent.
Madam Sose added that the amount of money needed to support victims is huge, stating that the amount needed for major reparations is different from the previous mentioned 50 million.
For the 758 people who are entitled to 50,000 and above, and the 54 West African migrants who are not part of this figure, government owes 168,820,000. For the West African migrants, it's another $32 million.
The reason why you have the large figure for the West African migrants is that those people were killed, and the compensation or the reparations amount going for unlawful killing is the peak of the payments being made. That's why, because of the number you have there, about 50-something people being killed, if they are each getting that high amount, that's why their own figure is that high.
Adding his voice to the reparations to victims, the chairperson of the commission said the government have been forthcoming in their work to support victims, and the government have made plans to set up a committee that will continue to work on reparations even after the commission's mandate ends.
The view of everyone involved in this, including the government, what I heard from the minister when I met with him, is to give priority to victims. We helped them out. They had suffered them enough. This kind of thing should not have happened in the country at all.
The chairperson would not comment further on whether the report will be made public, but did add that perpetrators who were later victims do not qualify for reparations. Babukar C, QTV News.
Operation Restore Sanity, the code name for the Gambia Armed Forces patrol team set up last month to curb crime, has clocked 1 month. In a media briefing held at the Fajara Barracks on Thursday, the operation commander listed the successes registered during the operation. Here's Babukar C again.
The operation to restore sanity by National Guards of the Gambia Armed Forces was launched a month ago as the country grappled with what seems to be a rise in crime and criminal activities, including murder and armed robbery, rape and other antisocial activities. During their operations, 12 cases were reported to different police stations, including stealing, armed robbery and bribery, among other related crimes. Lieutenant Colonel Omar B. Bojang, the Operations Restore Sanity Task Force commander, explained some of the activities and types of arrests conducted during their patrols.
We've also reacted to a series of incidences ranging from attempted robbery, public nuisance, and stealing. All those incidents, we've reacted to 23 of those. late night calls. Our patrol teams will react to those incidences. And so far, so good. The number of arrests, the stealing cases who were later handed over to the police are 3. The public disorder, nuisance, for instance, fighting, 4 cases that we have handed over to the police. Drug-related matters, those who have direct connection to the issues that we have because it's evidence-based. So those who are directly related to the drug-related matters are 3 who we have handed over to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. And of course, illegal trafficking of timber, 1, and of course, attempted bribery.
Colonel Bojang went further to explain the mode of operations of the task force, which effected some of the arrests conducted.
Of the task force includes to conduct patrols within Banjul Municipality, Kanifing Municipality, and the West Coast region as part of the first phase of the operation. We'll also establish vehicle checkpoints to search people and persons of interest. We are also to defend hotspot areas that are known to us and reported by the civil authorities. We should also liaise with the Gambian National Army and the Gambian Navy for possible arrest of offenders. We are to liaise with the commander of Operation Zero Crime for coordination. The execution of the above tasks will defeat armed robbery and banditry activities within the Greater Banjul area and the West Coast region.
As the operation is geared towards restoring peace and order for 3 months on the first phase, the task force commander said the prolonged operation depends on whether the crime rate increases or decreases. The task force is also calling for the cooperation of the public to report any dubious acts that threaten the peace of the country, saying it will make their work easier. Babu Karsi, QTV News.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we will have international and sports stories for you.
Such exceptional prices, impossible to miss the Butty Days. Butty Days is the unmissable appointment of Buttymat. From the 17th to the 31st of July, take advantage of exceptional discounts up to 50% off on several product family. The best quality, price ratio for the best construction is at Buttymat. So don't wait anymore. Let's hit the road for the Butty Days. Buttymat, everything for construction, from foundation to finishing.
Welcome back. 27 aviation security personnel have concluded a week-long training in document interception conducted by the Estonian police and border guards. The aim is to improve service at the Banjul International Airport. Abibatu Sise was at the closing and she now reports.
The security personnel trained are from the Gambia Immigration Department, the Gambia Police Force, the State Intelligence Services, and the Gambia International Airline, amongst others. The training also included document profiling, transnational crimes, drug trafficking, identifying fraudulent documents, and counterfeits. Sten Poda, a trainer, says the idea of the training started through his engagement with the Gambia at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. He expressed appreciation to the trainees for being cooperative and explained some of the training they received.
During this training, I think the best feedback comes from the trainees themselves, but I think we had a very good experience sharing regards to finding out counterfeit documents, how to identify authentic documents, how to spot human trafficking, suspicious cases, and how to deal with this further. I would not call it as a training, more like an experience sharing, because we have our own experience. My colleagues from Estonia, they just shared their experience, and this was a cooperation between us to get some more knowledge.
The training was funded by the European Union. The EU ambassador to the Gambia, Corrado Pampaloni, says the EU has invested a lot of resources to mitigate migration through illegal means and urges the trainees to put the knowledge gained into good use.
For the European Union, this is part of a greater approach. As EU, we have invested a lot of funding in a broad package on migration that we have agreed with our partner countries. In this case is the Gambian government. We not only do training here, but we do training also for young entrepreneurs who may be tempted to leave the country because they lack of opportunities.
On behalf of the participants, Pa Usman Mane expressed and gave an assurance of the effective use of the knowledge gained.
The training has really helped us to be able to articulate cases of human trafficking, to really be able to articulate and observe and also identify, and to be able to do a more or higher level of document examination. When you look at a passport, when you look at traveling documents, some people will just see plastic and some people will just see papers. But now a lot of us know that you have security papers and then you also have security plastic, like the polycarbonate.
The acting director of Human Resources at the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority, Fatou Jallow, on behalf of the Director General, thanked the Estonian police and expressed hope for continuous collaboration between the two countries. The Republic of Estonia is in the northern Europe. It is bordered to the north by the Gulf of Finland, across from Finland to the west by the Baltic Sea, across from Sweden to the south by Latvia, and to the east by Lake Pelpos and Russia. The Estonian police also presented uniforms, reflectors, shirts, and jackets to the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority. The participants were awarded with certificates. For QTV News, I am Abibatu Sise.
Coming up next is international news. Large parts of Western Germany, as well as Belgium and the Netherlands, were hit by heavy continuous rain and flooding on Wednesday night, which continued through to Thursday, leading to several deaths, destruction of buildings, and loss of property. Yahya Jawa reports.
Torrential rains and heavy flooding have caused serious devastations across parts of Western Germany, as more than 100 deaths has been registered so far, with dozens of people still missing. The flash floods have destroyed a lot of buildings and swept away cars, leaving victims in despair. German authorities say this is one of the worst floods to have ever hit Germany. German Chancellor Angela Merkel, on a visit to Washington, D.C., expressed shock at the scope of the flooding. She said the day was characterized by fear, despair, and by suffering, saying, "I grieve for those who have lost their lives in this disaster." She also said that the number of deaths is likely to rise further. Among the hard-hit German villages was Sult, where several homes collapsed and dozens of people remained unaccounted for. Rescue operations were hampered by blocked roads and phone and internet outages across the Eifel, a volcanic region of rolling hills and small valleys. Buildings of some villages with old bricks and timber houses couldn't withstand the sudden rush of water carrying trees and other rubble through the streets. Dozens of people had to be rescued from the roofs of their homes using inflatable boats and helicopters. Hundreds of soldiers were deployed to assist in the rescue efforts. There are people dead, there are people missing, there are people who are still in danger, the governor of Rhineland-Palatinate state, Malu Dreyer, told the regional parliament. "We have never seen such a disaster. It's really devastating," he added. After Germany, Belgium was the hardest hit by the rains earlier this week that caused homes to be ripped away and roads to be torn into wild rivers, running through the center of several towns. Reports by local authorities and media early on Friday say at least 22 people have died and more people still missing. Recently, the Gambia was also hit by similar devastation after torrential rains and a heavy windstorm which swept across the country led to the loss of 11 lives, destruction of buildings and other valuables. According to scientists, the likelihood of flooding is significantly increased due to the extreme weather patterns caused by global climate change. Changes in the geography of the land also have a part to play in increasing flooding. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
Next is sports news. Four Gambian athletes will compete in the athletics, judo and swimming events in this year's Tokyo Olympics beginning 23rd July to 8 August. Momodu Gajaga reports.
Africa's top female sprinter Gina Bass will compete in both the women's 200 meters and 100 meters respectively, while her compatriot in athletics, Ibrahima Kamara, will run in the men's 100 meters. An African Judo Championship silver medalist, Faye Njai, will appear in a second Olympic game in judo. In swimming, Ibrahima Buaro will compete. Gina Bass has huge prospects and potential to showcase her best on the tracks in the women's sprint events. She had been competing in various events recently in France, Spain and Poland in preparation for the Games. In the men's 100 meters, Ibrahima Kamara, despite not securing the entry standard qualification time of 10.5 seconds, he has a season's best and broke the national record of Jesu Mercedes Ndour in recent competitions. His timing of 10.16 seconds is an improvement from the 2019 World Championship in Doha. Another athlete who secured qualification to the event is Faye Njai, winner of the silver medal at the African Judo Championship in Senegal earlier in May. He will compete in the 73-kilogram category. Ibrahima Buaro will compete in the swimming, completing Gambia's representation. The Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakary Badji, handed over the Gambia's flag to Ibrahima Buaro, one of the four athletes, on Friday at a farewell ceremony before the athletes leave for the Tokyo Games. Ibrahima Buaro assures the officials he is in shape and will do his best to raise the country's flag high. Mamudu Gajaga, QTV News.
Before we close, here's a recap of our main news headlines. 4 students of Lycée Sénégalais de Banjul have drowned at the Fajara beach on Wednesday. The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commissions will submit its final report and recommendations to President Barrow on the 30th of July 2021. Operation Restore Sanity, the code name for the Gambia Armed Forces patrol team set up last month to curb crime, held a media briefing listing the successes registered during the operation. In international news, large parts of Western Germany as well as Belgium and the Netherlands were hit by heavy continuous rain and flooding, leading to several deaths, destruction of buildings and loss of property. In sports news, 4 Gambian athletes will compete in the athletics, judo and swimming events in this year's Tokyo Olympics set to begin this month. That's all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.